Hello there, viewers. I'm the Knight of Arcane, and today we're going back to turn Pokemon into Wait, that doesn't feel right. Oh, I missed the with guns part I put in the script notes. Anyways, we'll be turning Digimon into What? Not that Pokemon with guns? Then what Pokemon with guns is it supposed to... Oh, right. So today we'll be turning Palworld Pals into stands. With its current popularity, and that I haven't done anything with stands in a few months, this was one of the first ideas I had involving pals, along with another idea I might try and get out this month or next month. But a cool thing then happened when Popcross Studios invited me, Kingpin Creations, DMZJ Illustrations, and Nerd Comics Inc. to do a cross-promotion collab where we'd all release a Palworld related video today. I was extremely excited to be asked to join in on this, and got to work to get this out today. Of course, check out all their videos too, once you finish this video. And if you're coming over from one of their channels, then go back and watch it again after watching this. And think about subscribing to all 5 of us, if you like the story and speed paint video format we do. I promise you'll find a lot of interesting videos from us. Anyways, let's check out the Palworld stand, shall we? This is Jacob Dikemi, giving my latest report. It had been a bit quiet around town, and with the little group of other stand users here, Asher thought it would be a good idea to take a small trip out of town. Currently, I'm sharing a motel room with Renee, along with someone else I'll mention later in the report, while Asher and Shard are sharing another room, which when I texted that info to Dodger, all she sent back was a rainbow emoji. I can honestly say I'm not that used to bigger cities like Silverrod, but it was nice, before we met the first stand user. We were walking in the downtown area when we noticed a lot of people were looking pretty depressed. You could practically see the cloud of sadness around these people. We followed the road they were coming from, the people getting sadder and sadder the further we walked, until we got to a small cafe. Walking in, everyone was hunched over, talking about their miserable lives and everything, all except one guy at the counter. Sure, this middle-aged man looked tired and depressed too, but he wasn't moaning like the others. I then noticed a small blue and purple dog-looking thing with a mohawk pop up on the other side of the guy, taking a seat on the counter, as I then saw hints of a purple mist leaving its tail, before I finally saw that same mist was weaving in and out of the cafe. The stand looked me dead in the eyes before turning to the man, tapping him on the hand, and pointing at us. He asked us if we could see Espresso Noir, quite calmly, causing us to summon State of My Head, Bad Motor Scooter, Diamonds and Coal, and the Scientist. Seeing us, the man raised his hands in surrender, before having his stand dispel the mist. The cafe slowly started to become less depressing, as the man introduced himself as Larry Depress, saying he didn't want any trouble, and he was just doing a job. I asked him what was going on with the people, when he explained how his stand, Espresso Noir, can slowly release a mist that causes people in an area to become sad and depressed, with the effects able to last for a good while, and for a great distance. It just takes a while to take effect. Asher was a bit pissed, and while he had Renee hold Larry up by his collar, he asked what his job was, which Larry calmly replied he was a businessman by trade. But after being shot by a weird arrow and gained his stand, random people started to hire him to help immobilize targets with Espresso Noir's ability. However, 3 days ago, he was hired to attract someone to this location. When Asher asked who, Larry gave him a simple response: you. We barely had time to process that when we heard a loud crash, and I felt the wind knocked out of me, before blacking out for a second. When I came to, me and Shard were strewn across the street, while a large, heavily tattooed man was looking at us. He stepped back, and as he did, a large orange and brown figure with turtle shell-like plates, obviously a stand, appeared behind him. The guy yelled out, "Dig my grave," and these drill-like spikes on the stand's back shot out, embedding themselves onto the nearby buildings and road, with wires leading back to the stand. The two kept stepping back more, pulling the wires tight, before they used it to launch themselves right at us. Seeing what they were doing from a mile away, Shard had Diamonds and Cole prepare an attack at the stand, while I moved out of the way. However, his attack just bounced off Dig My Grave, and Shard was pretty much pile-drived by this guy. Just as his attention was turned to me, a loud "Hey" came from the cafe, and Renee lumbered out. The two large guys locked eyes. Both paused as they looked each other up and down, though our combatant seemed to stare longer, taking in the sight of Renee more, before they were rushing each other. I couldn't understand what exactly was going on, since neither had their stands out, and it looked like they were about to deck each other, when they then embraced each other in a hug. I was as confused as Asher and Shard once they saw what happened, not knowing what was going on at all. Turns out, our combatant, named Russ Clay, were cellmates with Renee before he joined the Hungry Hanias, but Renee did admit Russ didn't have a stand back then. When asked how he got this impervious stand, at least impervious to the attacks we could throw at it when we tested it later, Rust explained he was in a holding cell overnight when someone he couldn't see clearly shot him with an arrow, giving him Dig My Grave. Asher then got a bit angry and asked why he attacked us, but he claimed his memory was a bit fuzzy, remembering two people coming up to him, asking to hire him for something, before he saw a whitish figure and looked right into its eyes. That's when we heard someone walk up behind us and... crap. Laptop is running low on power. Gotta put it on the charger for a bit before I finish this. One moment.
You know, I was just thinking, I really can't stand it that some of you aren't subscribed to Night of Arcane. You see what I did, right? I thought it was pretty good, and even if you didn't like it, it didn't canonically happen on Popcross Studio, so I don't care if you didn't like it. But I do care about people hitting like on this video and commenting and all that fun stuff. All that fun stuff. But anyway, back into more of their art.
Okay. Laptop's charged. Now I can finish this report. As I was saying, we heard someone walk up behind us. Two people, who were the ones that set this all up. One was a woman in white, looking kind of like some sort of sci-fi cosplayer. Then again, the guy she was with, who was very familiar looking, looked like he'd be in some sort of samurai film, while holding a katana with a weirdly designed scabbard. The woman said she was impressed that Russ snapped out of Hypnotic's ability, not sure if she didn't use enough power, or if there was a small flaw in her stand, while the guy looked right at Asher. I followed his line of sight to my friend, and saw him glaring right at the new guy, before I then noticed the two looked very similar. This was Asher's brother, Kai Yamada, while his partner was Chie Shingetsu. Kai claimed he had been looking for him since Asher ran away. After finding out he had run off and took over the Hungry Hanias, he was preparing his options when he then learned his brother was coming to Silverrod, and with only 3 other stand users. Kai had paid Larry to lure us to him, though he was supposed to use Espresso Noir to make us depressed and easier to fight, but that's why Chie had Rust under her stand's control. They explained as a white and blue stand appeared behind Chie, having long parts behind the head that look similar to rabbit ears, and overall looking like some sort of futuristic robot. Hypnotic can influence the minds of anyone that looks into its eyes, giving them small commands they would then follow, as long as it doesn't result directly in their death, or so the scientist told us looking at the stand, which it also stated it can't affect stands directly. Chie was surprised about the last bits of info the scientist uncovered, not knowing herself. She then stated it wouldn't matter, since it would be impossible for us to fight her with our eyes closed. Unfortunately, that was a true statement, since Rene is the only one that could, since he can attack stands with the scientist out, and his stand can tell him where to swing, but his stand's personality wouldn't make it easy. Or at least I thought that's what would happen, but Asher told Rene to charge Chie, and he did, with his eyes wide open. Chie summoned Hypnotic right in front of Rene, and I know the big guy locked eyes with the stand, yet while Chie started to give a command, Rene just threw a haymaker right into the stand, and right into Chie. The scientist then filled us in that his user is too bullheaded to be influenced by such a weak stand. I wouldn't call Hypnotic's abilities weak, but the stand claims it can see its stats and believes it to be too weak. So I guess I'll take its word on it. Chie slowly got up and looked angry for a moment before she then got depressed about her stand, even saying the scientist could probably even beat it. I then noticed a purple mist surrounding her, and turned to see Larry and Espresso Noir nearby. He looked at Kai, and stated he lost 3 days of his vacation time off to do this low-paying job for him, before he walked off, Espresso Noir sticking its tongue out as they went. With Chie and Hypnotic out, it would have been 5-on-1, before Asher stopped us. If his brother wanted to take him home, he'd have to beat him first. We all stepped aside as the two brothers started to circle each other. Asher then summoned Bad Motor Scooter, while Kai pulled his sword out of his scabbard, which caused his stand to appear. It was mostly a tan-yellow color, with some parts black, orange, and gray, with a red cape, tan bandages along its torso, and one of those conical straw hats. Overall looking like a Japanese swordsman, with fire coming out of the top of the hat and back of its head, which then took the sword from Kai's hands. This is with fire and sword, and apparently, it's a stand that's been passed down Asher's family for a very long time, the user gaining the stand not from an arrow, but from the sword Kai was carrying. It may take a new form with each new user, but it can only be used by someone from his family. If someone else tried to give themselves with fire and sword, they'd go mad, tormented supposedly by the souls of the past users, and that it can only be claimed upon the death of the previous user. The two brothers fought with intensity. Obviously, a lot of pent-up familial frustration between the two, with fire and sword sometimes doing a quick pause, before appearing right in front of Bad Motor Scooter, and hitting him with a flaming sword strike. Kai kept telling Asher he needed to give up, that he couldn't beat him even before he acquired with fire and sword. What made him think he could best him now? Asher smirked, and told his brother flat out that he actually trained to see his stand improve, before Bad Motor Scooter turned into its second mode, and was able to get a few good hits in, each one getting more powerful with each hit in that mode. The two brothers were soon visibly exhausted, knowing they only had enough energy for one more attack. With Fire and Sword paused to prepare its attack, Bad Motor Scooter went into its bird mode, with Asher getting on to Kai's surprise, and rushed his brother's stand, and hit right before his blade could be drawn. Kai was knocked prone, his sword just out of reach. Asher looked down at his brother before walking away. Kai asked why he wouldn't return with him, but Asher just gave him a look, telling him he should know why, and asked if being the user of the fire and sword changed anything in their family's eyes and views. With that, we left with Russ joining us, saying he was going to join the Hungry Hanias. Asher immediately went back to his motel room, with Shard going in shortly after him. I'm sure they talked stuff out, and Asher should be better soon. Hopefully their heart-to-heart wasn't ruined by the active couple I could hear from our room. This motel has pretty thin walls. Anyways, gotta send a text to check on Dodger. She said she'd cover for me at the restaurant, along with keeping an eye on things around town, so hopefully everything is fine there. This is Jacob Takemi, signing off. Great, I can hear that couple going at it again. Probably not going to sleep tonight. And that was Palworld Pals as stands. It was a bit hard to choose just 4, so I want to come back to this, though at times did have a bit of a challenge designing these, and some other pals I thought of using. But what did you think of them? Let me know in the comments, along with other pals I should turn into stands, other series and characters I should turn into stands, and other videos I could do with Palworld. To know more about the characters in this video, I have a stands playlist to check out, with Asher showing up in Pokemon as stands Round 2, and Renee and Shard showing up in Ben 10 Aliens as stands. And check out my other videos like Ninjago characters as Demon Slayers and Has-Been Hotel characters on the Suicide Squad. And of course, go and check out Popcross Studios, Kingpin Creations, DMZJ Illustrations, and Nerd Comics Inc. for their Palworld videos and their other amazing videos. And if you liked what you saw, then leave a like and subscribe to join our growing little arcane town to be in the know for future videos, polls, and projects. I won't be surprised if we break 800 subs in the next week after seeing how much subscriber growth I've had this last month alone. Huge thank you to Popcross Studios for setting this up, and I hope we can do something like this again. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Later.